Welcome to Hollow Creek, a name whispered, never spoken aloud. A place where even the wind seems to carry secrets, murmuring through the trees. A forgotten town nestled deep in the Appalachian Mountains, far from the prying eyes of the modern world. Shrouded in perpetual mist, the town held its breath, hiding from the world. The fog was like a veil, concealing its mysteries. Its silence was heavy, burdened by a past it couldn't outrun. The overgrown vegetation seemed to reclaim the land, as if nature itself wanted to erase the town's existence. The trees, gnarled and twisted, clawed at the sky, their branches like skeletal fingers. They stood as silent sentinels, guarding the secrets of Hollow Creek. A chill permeated the air, a constant reminder that Hollow Creek held secrets best left undisturbed. The cold seemed to seep into your bones, making you shiver with an unspoken dread. The houses, mostly abandoned, stood like tombstones, each one a monument to lives once lived, now forgotten. Their windows, dark and vacant, were like the eyes of the dead, watching, waiting. They seemed to follow you no matter where you went. The wind whistled through the empty streets, carrying with it the scent of decay and the promise of something sinister. It was as if the town itself was breathing, whispering tales of its haunted past. Hollow Creek was a place where shadows danced in the daylight and nightmares bled into reality. It was a place where the line between the living and the dead was blurred, and every corner held a new terror. The year was 1982. The town of Hollow Creek was shaken to its core. On a night much like this one, thick fog rolled in, blanketing the town in an eerie silence. Little Timmy Carter, just 5 years old, vanished without a trace. One moment he was playing in his yard, the next he was gone. The search was extensive, desperate. Every corner of the town was combed, every well and mineshaft checked, but Timmy was never found. The townsfolk whispered of shadowy figures in the fog, of unnatural sounds echoing through the night. They spoke of an ancient evil that resided in the heart of Hollow Creek, an evil that demanded a price. 32 years later, Officer Daniel Davies found himself staring into the abyss of Hollow Creek's tragic past. The memories of the place were as dark and foreboding as the forest itself, casting long shadows over his thoughts. Assigned to reopen the cold case of Timmy Carter, Daniel felt a shiver crawl down his spine as he drove into the desolate town. The streets were eerily quiet, the buildings seemed to whisper secrets of a time long gone, and the air was thick with an unsettling stillness. The case had haunted him since childhood, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of the ordinary. Timmy's innocent face in the old photograph was a stark contrast to the grim reality that had unfolded. Daniel's father, the sheriff back in '82, had dedicated his life to finding Timmy. He had been a pillar of the community, a man of unwavering resolve, but the case had taken its toll. The unsolved case had driven him to an early grave, leaving Daniel with a burning need for answers. Standing at his father's grave, Daniel felt the weight of his legacy and the unfulfilled promise to bring Timmy home. Armed with his father's worn-out case files and a steely resolve, Daniel vowed to uncover the truth, even if it meant confronting the chilling reality that haunted Hollow Creek. The files were a labyrinth of clues, each one a piece of the puzzle that had eluded his father. He was determined to find peace for Timmy, for his father, and for himself. The journey ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but Daniel knew that he had to face the darkness to bring light to the shadows of Hollow Creek. The old Carter house stood at the edge of town, a grim monument to a tragedy that refused to fade. As Daniel stepped onto the porch, the floorboards groaned under his weight, as if echoing the pain of the past. The air grew heavy, thick with an unseen presence. Daniel felt a chill, a prickling sensation on the back of his neck. He pushed open the creaking door, his hand hovering over the butt of his service pistol. Dust motes danced in the faint rays of sunlight that pierced the gloom. The air was stale, thick with the scent of decay and something else, something ancient and malevolent. Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched, his every move scrutinized by unseen eyes. The house was a time capsule. Toys lay scattered on the floor, gathering dust. Family photos, their edges yellowed, smiled from the walls. Daniel picked up a faded photograph of a beaming Timmy, his gap-toothed grin radiating youthful innocence. The image sent a pang of sadness through Daniel's heart. As Daniel delved deeper into the house, he noticed something strange. The air grew colder, and he could have sworn he heard whispers, faint and indistinct like children murmuring in the shadows. He stopped, listening intently, his heart pounding in his chest. The whispers seemed to be coming from the attic, beckoning him, drawing him towards the darkness that lay hidden above. Climbing the rickety attic stairs, Daniel's flashlight cut through the oppressive darkness. Dust rained down from the rafters and cobwebs clung to his face like spectral hands. As he reached the top of the stairs, his flashlight flickered, plunging him into momentary darkness. Panic surged through him, and he fumbled with the flashlight, his heart pounding against his ribs. As light flooded the attic once more, his gaze was drawn to the lone window at the far end. And that's when he saw it. A face, pale, gaunt, with eyes that burned with an eerie green light. It stared at him, a grotesque mockery of a child's face, and then vanished as quickly as it had appeared. That night, lying in his sleeping bag in the living room of the Carter house, sleep evaded Daniel. The face in the window replayed in his mind, sending shivers down his spine. The wind howled outside, rattling the old windows, and the whispers returned, louder this time, filled with an unspeakable sorrow. Then the screams started, blood-curdling, filled with a terror that chilled him to the bone. They seemed to be coming from outside, echoing through the empty streets of Hollow Creek. Daniel scrambled to his feet, grabbing his flashlight and his gun, his heart pounding in his chest. He raced out into the night, following the sound of the screams, his breath catching in his throat. The screams led him to the old town square, where a solitary swing set stood silhouetted against the moonlit fog. As he approached, the screams reached a fever pitch, and he saw her, a figure shrouded in shadow, swinging back and forth, her laughter echoing through the night. But as Daniel drew closer, his blood ran cold. The figure on the swing was not a woman. It was a child with vacant eyes and a smile that stretched far too wide, revealing rows of needle-sharp teeth. And in her hands she clutched a tattered teddy bear, its fur matted with what looked like blood. Suddenly, the figure stopped swinging and turned towards him, her eyes locking onto his. "Timmy!" Daniel choked out, his voice barely a whisper. The figure tilted its head, the unnatural smile never leaving its face. "He's gone," the figure hissed, its voice a raspy whisper that seemed to slither through the air. "Gone, but I'm here, and you're going to help me." Daniel stumbled back, his hand trembling as he aimed his gun at the figure. "What are you?" he whispered, his voice laced with fear. The figure let out a low growl, its eyes flashing with a malevolent light. "I am the hunger," it hissed, "the darkness that consumes, and I need a new vessel." "Let him go," Daniel pleaded, his voice shaking. "He's just a boy." The demon child laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the empty square. "He's gone," it repeated, its voice dripping with malice. "But you can be his new vessel." The demon child floated towards him, its eyes burning into his soul. Daniel felt a cold dread grip his heart, a sense of inevitable doom. He knew that he couldn't fight it, not alone, but maybe he could make a deal. "Take me," Daniel said, his voice firm despite the terror that gnawed at him. "Leave Timmy be. Let his soul rest." The next morning, the sun rose over Hollow Creek, casting long shadows over the town square. The early morning light revealed a town that seemed to be holding its breath, waiting for something to break the eerie silence. The swing set stood empty, swaying gently in the morning breeze. The only evidence of the previous night's encounter was a child's teddy bear lying abandoned on the ground, a silent witness to the horrors that had unfolded. Officer Davies was never seen again. Some say that on foggy nights you can still hear the sound of a child's laughter, echoing through the empty streets of Hollow Creek. The laughter, faint and distant, sends chills down the spine of anyone who dares to listen. And if you look closely at the shadows that dance in the mist, you might just glimpse the face of Officer Davies. His eyes, filled with an eternal sorrow, seem to follow you, forever bound to the demon of Hollow Creek. His presence is a constant reminder of the town's dark past. He is its vessel, its voice, its eternal prisoner. The town remains silent, its secrets buried beneath layers of fear and forgotten memories. The streets, once filled with life, now stand as a testament to the horrors that have taken place. Hollow Creek, forever shrouded in mist and haunted by the echoes of its past, stands as a ghostly reminder of the events that transpired. The town, enveloped in fog, whispers its secrets to those who dare to listen.